What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and we can all be honest here. This season was brutal for the players on the field. There were clubhouse issues. The front office had issues. We as fans had issues, but there were also issues in other places that we have yet to talk about, and that's what we're going to do today because the NESN booth has had issues this year. Not only did they have to deal with losing one of the greatest announcers in probably baseball history in terms of Remy, RIP, but they also got the news that Dennis Eckersley would not be returning for the 2023 season, and that's going to leave a really massive hole in this Red Sox /NESN booth, and that's what we're talking about today. We're going to be talking about the hole that the NESN booth created this season, and we're going to be talking about ways that they can solve this issue going forward and whether or not it can be resolved. But before we get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It helps out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. First things first, I just want to give a huge shout out to Dennis Eckersley and thank him for everything he's done for us as Red Sox Nation. Dennis Eckersley has been with NESN and in this Red Sox booth since 2003. So for a lot of us fans, including myself, Dennis Eckersley and Remy were the only color commentators we've ever known. And we've been spoiled because Dennis Eckersley was such a unique personality in this game of baseball. And his perspective on things was so fascinating and entertaining. Just take a listen to this 2018 line he had during that amazing run. This line right here really set the table for what was, in my opinion, the single greatest Red Sox season in history.
High deep drive! He crushed it! It's a grand slam! I'm telling you, it's time to party!
Dennis Eckersley was so unique and so personable, and he will be sorely missed in that Red Sox booth. And what he is doing is creating a void for the NESN booth, and it's a void that's going to be extremely hard to fill. So what do the Red Sox do to combat that? Well, you've got Dave O'Brien in that booth, and Dave O'Brien is a great national baseball broadcaster, right? He's very good at what he does. He's extremely professional, and he calls the game the right way. But for a lot of Red Sox fans and a lot of Red Sox Nation, you want more than that. You want a guy who's homegrown, who makes you feel like every single game is do or die, who lives and breathes by this Red Sox team. And that's the one area where Dave O'Brien falters. Again, if he was a national broadcaster, ESPN, Apple TV, TBS, Fox, right? He'd be one of the best in the game. But because he's here with the Red Sox, he gets the criticism because of the fact that he's not that homegrown, personable guy that we've had the pleasure of having in the booth in years past. Don Arcillo. But he still does a great job in there, and it's something that we can work with. So there are a couple of solutions to trying to fill the void of Dennis Eckersley and obviously the void of Remy again, RIP. And the first solution to this is to bring in just one singular guy, a guy like a Remy going to be with this broadcasting team through most of the games throughout the year, and he's going to bring a unique perspective. And in my opinion, the best fit for that solution is Brock Holt. Now, Brock Holt, I don't know how realistic this solution is because of the fact that he has young kids at home. He hasn't actually retired from Major League Baseball yet, so I don't know logistically how that works. But Brock had 2 games this year where he did the pre and post game show for NESN, and he was absolutely fantastic. And I think in the booth, not only is he just a fantastic dude who Red Sox fans adore and love, but he also loves this city of Boston. He loves this Red Sox team, so you would have that sort of hometown do or die feel with Brock Holt in the booth. Replacing Dennis Eckersley is nearly impossible, right? Dennis Eckersley was kind of a unicorn. So bringing Brock Holt in brings you an entirely different perspective that I don't think we've had in a long time for a Red Sox color commentator. And that is, he's not very far removed from this Red Sox team, right? If he were to be in the booth in 2023, there's a possibility that there are guys on this team that Brock Holt played with and know very well. And that's an extremely unique experience and insight to this Red Sox clubhouse that we have not had. And I think that could be a ton of fun to have in the booth for a 162 game season. Now, again, the only problem with this is Brock Holt has never officially retired from baseball, so I don't know how that works logistically. Plus, he's got 2 young kids at home who he's been loving spending time with, so I don't know if he would want to be in the booth for 162 games. But if he did, this, in my opinion, would be a fantastic solution. The second solution that comes to mind is kind of keep it as it is, right? We had this sort of revolving door of color commentators in the Red Sox NESN booth this year alongside Dave O'Brien, one of them being Kevin Youkilis, who there's another solution that I'm going to be talking about in a second, and I want to get into Yuke more then, but Yuke has been great in this Red Sox booth. You had Kevin Millar, who was fantastic in small doses. I think if we had Kevin Millar in a 162 game setting, it would just be a lot, right? He's got great stories and great points, but he's like the Energizer Bunny just doesn't stop. And I think throughout a 162 game season, that could end up being a lot for a lot of viewers. So in small doses, Kevin Millar was fantastic. And finally, you had Tony Maz. And I didn't hate Tony Maz broadcasts as much as some other people that I've talked to. And I know that he knows baseball really well and loves the game of baseball and is very passionate about the Red Sox. And that's great. But one thing that I've loved about Red Sox color commentators is that they've had the experience of playing the game. They know the ins and outs of being in that dugout, going through slump, having bad games on the mound, right? It brings such unique and insightful experience to the Red Sox NESN booth when you have someone who has played the game before. And for me, that's the main reason why Tony is kind of at the bottom of this list. But I also wouldn't hate this revolving door type thing if maybe they mix in some new characters as well. Will Middlebrooks did a good job when he was on the call this last series, so maybe you integrate him more. Like I said with Brock Holt, you could try and get him in for maybe 10-15 games, and that could be kind of fun. But you kind of lose that sort of, this is the guy who's going to be calling my game. Like Dennis Eckersley felt like a friend. I never knew him personally, I never knew Jerry Remy personally, but because they were there day in and day out, suffering the lows and celebrating the highs with me in my living room or in the car, wherever I was watching the game, it sort of became like a friend to me. And with the revolving door, you lose that aspect. So that's one of the downsides to the revolving door. There is one more solution that I think is personally the best solution for filling the hole that was Dennis Eckersley. And obviously you can't fill the hole of Jerry Remy or Dennis Eckersley, but this could be a pretty fun solution. And that is that you sort of bump Dave O'Brien into the sort of part-time role. Maybe he does the bigger games, maybe he does the more nationally broadcast games, and you have Mike Monaco take over the majority of games. Like I said, Dave O'Brien, fantastic national neutral broadcaster, but Mike Monaco is a homegrown broadcaster. At least it feels like that. He makes every game feel as though it's do or die. And when something good happens for the Red Sox, you know it. You know that something good happened to the Red Sox. It feels like it means everything to Mike Monaco when the Red Sox do well. For example, take a listen to Connor Wong's first major league home run.
Oh, this is hammered by Connor Wong. Left field and his first career big league home run.
That was absolutely electric. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about, where Mike Monaco makes you feel as though every game matters, and that's extremely important. And the person I would have going alongside Mike Monaco on this journey for a majority of games next year is Kevin Youkilis, the guy I said we were talking about later. Because while Kevin Youkilis started off, he was a little bit rocky, right? He didn't entirely know what his personality was going to be on the air. He didn't entirely know what the cadence and stuff like that felt like. But as Kevin Youkilis has grown and developed through this year, he's turned into an absolute electric factory in the booth, and he's been an absolute electric factory with Mike Monaco. There's a specific game that comes to mind that I would love to see every single day, and it was a game, and I forget the opponent, I forget what time, it was a couple weeks ago. I don't think it was super early in the year, but the Red Sox were getting torched, right? It was like 9-0. The game felt like it was dragging on, but I found myself watching NESN and watching this game for the interactions of Mike Monaco and Kevin Youkilis. Kevin was eating donuts and trying to get Mike to figure out what flavor of donut it was. You had them eating hot dogs. They were talking about life. They were talking about everything, and the two of them gelled really well. And on top of that, Kevin Youkilis was a really great hitter when he played, right? He brings so much insight into how players approach at bats, how players approach fielding. He's played first, third, he played a little bit of outfield, and they already have some running gags with Kevin Youkilis where they play his first ever MLB home run with the Red Sox every single time he announces, and that's pretty funny. So I think the perfect solution to this problem is to go a completely different direction, give an entire new feel to this NESN booth, and don't try and just replace Jerry, or don't try and just replace Eck, but go an entirely new direction, try something completely new, so maybe that helps fill that void. Let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of these three solutions? Is there a solution that you love more than the other three? Do you agree with me that Mike Monaco and Kevin Youkilis would be the best? Is there a solution that I did not talk about that you think needs to happen? And if you were to pick one player who is currently not in this Red Sox booth to be in this Red Sox booth, who would you pick? Let me know all your thoughts on this down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like I said at the beginning, if you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Plus, you made it to the end of this video, you might as well hit that sub button. Also, make sure you guys have hit that like button as well. It helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seat.